Welcome to our podcast, designed for psychologists, therapists, and counselors who want to take their business online and live a soul-nourished and profitable life without compromise. If you want to know the secrets used by practitioners just like you to navigate the global e-learning market successfully, then you're in the right place. I'm Dr. Tilean, Chartered Psychologist, Business Mentor, and your host, and welcome to the Abundant Practitioner Podcast.
There I am. Hey. Happy Monday. Okay, so I'm here to give an episode today on the 5 business tips that I'd like to share from my 8 years of running an online business. I still can't believe I've been in business for 8 years. Like, seriously, how does time fly? Like, does anyone still feel like they were 8 years younger? Like, where has the time gone? Do you know what I mean? But so much growth and development has happened in that time. And when I cast my mind back to 8 years ago, like at the beginning stages of making firstly the decision that I'm going to start a business, and I didn't feel at all ready, right? I was crapping myself in actual fact. But I just felt like life had put me into a position where I needed to choose. I needed to choose what my next step was going to be. And maybe you are a listener here today and you have felt like life has also put you in a position where you need to choose. Then, you can resonate. But I literally felt like I could not do one more day at my job, right? And I had a choice. I didn't have to do one more day at my job, right? And I had a choice. And so I decided to hand in my notice. And I was like, hey, I'm building a business. And even though that was coming out my mouth, like internally, I was like, how do I build a business? I don't even know how to build a business. What is my business? Who am I going to help? What's that going to be about? But I put myself, by making that decision, into a place of sink or swim. And I sure was going to swim, right? And I'm still swimming, guys. I'm still swimming 8 years on. And I thought it'd be really helpful to share with you in this episode in terms of looking back, what would be my 5 best business tips for those of you that are in that similar phase, or you have started and you're feeling like, I've decided to swim today. Like, how do I carry on swimming? Yeah, I want to share with you, how do you keep going forward? Alice, Dr. Alice, thanks for joining, darling. How do you keep going forward, right? And swimming when you have made that decision, I'm going to swim, but you're still like, should I turn back? Should I turn around and turn back? Or maybe you're like, no, I've made that decision, I'm going to swim. And how do I just keep swimming so that 8 years on, I can be in that space, right? And further, because to be quite honest, business statistics, right, overall, is abysmal in terms of the first year, like surviving the first year, let alone surviving 3 years, let alone surviving 5 years, let alone being out there 8 years on. And so I really felt like I could benefit a lot of practitioners here, because I am on a mission to help practitioners. Whether you're a counselor, you are a therapist, you're a psychologist, you are in physio, occupational health, you are a practitioner like me, you have decided you want to run your own business that gives you freedom, flexibility, and the income to have the life that you want and to make the contribution that you're being called to as well, right? I really want you to know what these business tips are so that you can adopt them and don't have to go through what I went through in terms of learning on the go, but I've just shared it with you. Okay. So tag somebody that you know that needs to hear this, or share with them who I am so they can hear this information, because I want as many practitioners as possible to know that if they choose to want to create their own online business, right, which they can do in the way that it want, and it doesn't have to all be online. I do retreats as well, right? I do in-person events as well, right? You can meet people, but a large proportion of what I do is online, giving me the freedom and flexibility to work from wherever I want to work, whether that be a home office or abroad or wherever I need to be. Yeah. Whilst still setting my business up where I have 12 weeks off a year, where I am able to have like time off, downtime. I'm not working 365 days a year either, right? So it's all about soul nourishment as well as that. So what are these 5 tips? Yeah, okay. And like Alice, if you are watching live, please do say hello. If you watch the replay, just put hashtag replay, hey, right? I'll see it later, okay? And I'll be sure to comment. But yeah, what are these 5 steps? So I would say number 1, right? I really took a moment before I came on and was like, what would be the top things that I would share with my audience, like that want to build success in their business? What would that be? And I was like, number 1 is decide. Now that might sound so simple, but it certainly is not. And there are so many people trying to build a business and they haven't decided that they are going to be in business. They are going to be great and a success. They are going to make money, right? It's going to be profitable and they're in it. And this is plan A. And I can't remember where I heard it or who I heard it from, but very early on, I had heard somewhere from someone motivational that I was listening to about like, there is no plan B. This is a plan A. And so I very much adopted that mindset from the get-go, right? When I made that decision to leave my job and start my business, I had also made a decision that this is plan A. This is going to work. It has to work or it has to work, right? That was it. It was not like this is plan A. Let me carry on though, looking aside on this side because plan A might not work. It was going to work, right? I made a decision that I am choosing to be in a business and I'm choosing to learn to run a successful business, even though I know zero about business. Right. And so I would say that one of my top tips is that the quicker you decide to do this, the easier it's going to be for you. Right. Doesn't mean that by deciding you're not going to have challenges. Of course, you are going to have challenges. Right. But you will be able to get through those challenges much quicker because you made a decision that you're all in rather than sitting on a fence. Right. Sitting on a fence doesn't feel comfortable. Yeah, when you're sitting on a fence of like, oh, should I get another job? Oh, should I like try and get to the next band? Or should I build my business? Like that don't feel good. Do you know what I mean? So decide. If you're doing it, do it. If you're not sure, don't bother start because it's hard enough already, okay? Right? So just decide. You've got to decide to be all in with it and at least give yourself a best possible chance, which brings me on to point 2. Yeah. Once you made a decision in that I am doing this, and maybe some of you are in the ocean and you made that decision before, you got to keep deciding. You got to keep choosing. You got to keep betting on you, right? You got to keep seeing and leaning into the vision. That is absolutely essential for this. Okay. Right. So make sure that you're not only just deciding, all right, but you continue to decide every step, every level you get to. Yeah. And that's how you also continue going past that year, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years and beyond. It's by those moments of decision, right? So those decisions brings me on to point 2. The next thing I would say that really helped my success in business is investing in my business, right? Investing in my business education, investing in business systems, investing in business processes, investing in business team, right? Like, you know, all of those decisions around investing were absolutely essential to my success. They were not only essential to my success as becoming a psychologist at doctorate level, that ability to invest in education into how do I learn about business was absolutely critical for my success. And so it was about recognizing that I'm in this for the long haul. Remember point 1, it has to work or it has to work. Yeah, right? It's plan A. There is no plan B, right? So if that's the case, I need to invest in what I need to invest in, right? To make sure that the path God has placed me on comes to life because I'm trusting in my guidance in where I'm being directed. right? So that was very important in my journey of being able to make those choices about investments, even in stages where it felt scary, right? At the beginning of my business, I had zero savings, guys, right? I had like eyeballs, debts up to my eyeballs, student debts, personal debts from investing in student education, right? All of that stuff. Yeah. So if I was to look at what I could see with my site in terms of finances and be like, oh, actually, maybe I won't invest in any more education to learn how to run a business, I don't think I would be here, right? In fact, I wouldn't be here 8 years on, because in order to have a successful business of any kind, is going to take investment, right? And so it's about being really honest with yourselves about that, of like, I'm going to need some investment capital to have a business. Where am I going to get that from? Do I have that? Some people have that already, right, around them, that maybe it wasn't allocated for investment capital, but they decided to make it that, right? Some people decide to find their dragons. Yeah, like, Dragon's Den, Shark Tank. They decide to find people, friends, family that are willing to invest in them, and they as well invest in themselves, and together they move forward. Some people decide to take out personal loans or credits or whatever to make their business vision come forward. Yeah. And so, but it's about being very, very honest with yourself about business education is going to be needed to create success, business systems, business processes. All of these things are going to need to be put in place before you bring your business to a place where it's like, yes, it's flying, right? The revenue's producing, it's profitable. Okay. And so whilst that step can feel scary, right? And I have felt scared on that step, right? That step has never failed me. Okay. Which brings me on to point 3. Yeah. Are you loving this? Is this helping? Okay. Is this helping? I sure hope it is. All right. Is point 3, I would say, is learn. My commitment to continuing to learn and grow. That was something, like, I hear people that are just tired of learning, and I get it. You know what I mean? At the time I started my business, I'd studied psychology for 10 years. 10 years. Oh my goodness, right? We're learning from a long time. You know what I mean? Like, so, I've done before GCSEs, and even before that, do you know what I mean? Like, then A levels, right? Then I'd done undergraduate. I'd even got a diploma, then a master's, then a doctor. I was tired of learning too. Yeah, right. I feel like I had like post-traumatic stress disorder for a while in terms of being able to read a book. I'd like been able to I'd been reading so much, especially for my doctorate, reading and reading and reading and reading and reading. I didn't know if I really wanted to read anything else, right? But I started audio listening. Okay, I decided to accumulate my learning in different ways. I hired a coach, right? The first of many, yeah, I would learn from, to teach me about business, to teach me about marketing, to teach me about sales, right? And so I've been on that learning journey of understanding business, marketing, and sales, and still continue to learn that, because it moves like that, rapid, right? Continue to learn that to make sure that I can show up powerfully, and my team can do what they need to do to have the business that we have, and help also practitioners. Now our business helps practitioners with their businesses, right? So we are remaining one step ahead of the game all the time, right? But I don't learn to just absorb, which is what often, when we're in a university setting, or we're in a learning, educational, schooling setting, right, which many of us have come from, we learn to remember. You know what I mean? Like procrastinate and I can't even remember it, right? But who was that person that developed this theory in what year, right? We have to learn to remember. We have to learn to memorize. When you are building a business, you're not learning to memorize. You're learning to implement, and you're learning to develop mastery, right? So it becomes a different type of learning. And that's the very first challenge I find many of my clients go through in the pivotal change when they join our process to build a business. First they come in, they're like, oh yeah, I'm here to learn. And then it's like, you're not just here to learn to absorb this information. We're here to help you implement. Okay. And then it gets like, oh my God, right? and we help them get through those steps. But that's how they move from being somebody that's never ever run a business before, has zero web presence or online presence, has feeling not even necessarily confident about, can I do this, even though they might be highly skilled and highly got a lot of certificates behind them, right? We help them be able to move into a place where they have a business, they have clients, they have an audience, you know what I mean? They're living life, they're loving life, right? And being in that space. But that requires that third step of recognizing, I'm learning for mastery. I'm learning to implement, right? I'm not just learning to absorb. Yeah, because at the end of the day, right, so many people want change, Thank you, Rana, for joining us, darling. Right, so many people want change in their lives, right? And they talk about it. But the actual fact of people that take the decisions, point one, and go ahead and actually walk the walk, right, is a lot smaller. And I really would say that one of the best things is understanding is that you are actually more ready than you think. And that was one of the things that when I look back at my journey, I was always more ready than I thought, right? But I just felt nervous, and maybe you do too. But you can only gain that confidence through action. You can only gain that clarity through action, right? And so once you put one step in front of the other, then the other, then the other, then the other, then the other, right? You will see that you will gain more clarity, more confidence. You will gain the audience. You will gain the clients. All of this will happen. But you have to start. You have to decide. You have to invest, right, in whatever business you decide to do. Yeah. And you have to decide to learn, right, and be committed to learn. And actually, what I found is once I decided I'm going to learn, it wasn't learning like learning for my doctorate. It wasn't learning like learning for my master's. It wasn't learning like learning for GCSEs. It was so enjoyable because everything made sense. I was learning to implement. I was learning for mastery. So I'm excited to learn now. I'm excited to read the things. I'm excited to ask questions, right? Because it was like that. And I see that through our clients too, in terms of they transition their experience of learning in the past into something that is really fresh. And they say they feel more alive than they've ever felt, right? By putting themselves in situations where they're learning to implement and to mastery, to build their vision ultimately, right? And that's why learning becomes a different place. So don't be scared. Like, no matter if you're like me and you've studied for 10 plus years and you're like, I really want a business, but it's going to require me to learn. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to learn anymore, right? Just understand that the learning journey is much different. Yeah, there is a lot to learn, but your association with learning becomes different because you're learning and implementing for your vision, your life vision, your business vision, right? Your God-given purpose vision. It's a whole different game. Yeah. So, it's about recognizing that as well. Point 4 as well. I could talk on all of these points forever, but I'm going to condense it because I do have our client call in just 10 minutes. So point 4 is about marketing. You will need to, in order to have a business that has longevity, right, that is also soul nourishing, okay, is to create a marketing system, right? And that is something that we definitely do teach our clients in how to put in place a marketing system that is aligned, that feels good, that is also transformational. So when people are receiving your messages or they're receiving anything around your marketing, it's helping them, right? So we're not putting out things for putting out things' sake, but also where you're not required to do all the things, or you're not having a strategy that is hope and pray, but you're putting in business systems that become predictable, right? That you recognize that marketing system, I would say this is huge, right? I wish I'd known this when I started. Marketing system is much more important than fancy branding, an amazing website. Yeah, okay, right? Or an incredible photo shoot. Right now, I have all of those things, okay, right? But I want you to know that actually your marketing system is actually what's really going to move the needle in your business, not the fancy photo shoots, the fancy branding, and the fancy website, right? Because just by having those things doesn't mean that you have an audience, you have clients, you have, revenue. It doesn't mean any of those things, right? So also be very careful, just because somebody has a great website, great branding, great photos, doesn't actually mean much, right? Do they have great marketing? Like, do they have clients? You know what I mean? And that requires a marketing system. Okay. And so that is absolutely essential. And we, once we help our clients build out first their business, right, a legitimate business, we then show them how to build out marketing systems and sales, right? Because that's important. And I feel like the fifth business tip I would say as well, and before I go into that, like without it, because it took me a while actually to learn that a marketing system is essential, right? I had so many thoughts about what marketing actually meant as a psychologist, and what that meant for me in business, that I kind of shied away from it for longer than I would have. And that's why I teach our clients how to do that, because that's what really shifted the needle for us in the business. Yeah. And you don't need to be doing other things. You don't need to be blogging and YouTubing and doing lead magnets one a week. And you know what I mean? You just need to decide on what your smart marketing plan is going to be, that simple marketing system is going to be for you, and then implement it. Okay. Number 5 is that all of your business can be set up in 90 days, right? In 90 days. That's how long it took me. Okay. Many of our clients have done it in that time too. If it takes them longer than 90 days, it's definitely done within 6 months. Yeah. So it doesn't need to take a long time. All right. And obviously every person's journey is different. Life is lifing differently. We have helped clients who have 4 kids, 2 cats and a rabbit, you know what I mean? And a partner, you know what I mean? And other responsibilities. And obviously their journey may look a bit different to somebody that has, is single and has all the time in the world to be able to just focus on their business. So, but definitely, no matter if you do have 4 kids, 5 cats and a rabbit, right? Or whatever I said, you can still do that in 6 months, okay? Which is not that long, right? Look how long it took you to be qualified in what you're qualified in. 6 months is really not that long to set it up, right? And so just remember all of that. So that's the main things I wanted to share today, right? If you are somebody that does want to explore what it is like to be on the other side and getting my support in helping you as a practitioner build out your online business, then get in touch, okay? Now, when I say explore, I'm not looking for the talk that talks, right? I'm looking to speak with people that are willing to walk the walk, yeah? People that have decided, I want a business, right? I want to make my business a success. I'm just confused on the next steps. I may feel fearful, that's okay, right? But you've actually decided. You're not like, oh yeah, one day it will be absolutely nice to, you know what I mean? Yeah, I really want to help people that want help to implement strategies this year, right? And I'm absolutely willing to do that for free, right? On a phone call with them. But you need to be a serious person. So if you're not serious, you know what I mean? You're just kind of like smooching around and being intrigued by life right now. That's all good. And I'm here for it. But do that in your own space, not in mine. All right. So if you are serious about building a business and you would like help and you would like to discuss what challenges you're coming up against, whether those are mindset challenges, strategy challenges, and coming up with a plan of how I can help you move forward, then go ahead and book a call with me. Okay. But that's it for today's episode, guys. All right. You'll book a call by going to drtilean.com/explore. All right. So I'll do the outro and I'll see you again, maybe later this week. Right. I'm going to try and show up here a lot more. But definitely next week if you don't see me again this week. All right. Take care, guys.
Thank you for tuning into today's show. We drop a brand new episode each week, so do subscribe. And if you like what you heard and you're ready to pivot the way you work and discover a new way, then go to www.drtilean.com/explore and book an appointment to speak with our team. We'll hop on the phone with you for about 45 minutes and help you craft out a step-by-step strategy on how you can successfully make the pivot just like our clients have. I'm Dr. Tilean. Good luck and let's talk soon.